Hello everyone. So welcome to a webinar hangout about how to create a crowdfunding video. My name's Si, I work at Crowdfunder. We're in the Crowdfunder HQ down in Newquay at the moment. And I'm here to talk to you about everything that it takes to make a good crowdfunding video. I've got a presentation to show you. We're going to find a way to send around the presentation at the end of the webinar. And if you have any questions, then you can send them in. I've got a glamorous assistant here who can forward the questions on to me. Just use the hashtag CFPU on Twitter. So without further ado, I'm going to jump straight into a presentation. Before I start talking to you about what it takes to make a good crowdfunding video, I figured the best thing to do would be to show you one that I like. So hopefully in 2 seconds, you should be able to see a good crowdfunding video. Come on, technology. Okay, here we go. So,
Cornwall, are you listening? Because we want this to happen. Oh yeah! We want to stage a Foo Fighters gig right here, not right here, this is a recording studio, but right here in Cornwall, and we want you to make that happen. So what can we as fans do? Well, it's simple. We can pledge. There's lots of options down here on this side of the page. And what we really need you to do is to pledge to buy a ticket. And that way, if we get Dave and the boys down here to Cornwall, you will be at that gig. I'm excited. I'm sure you are. So you're probably wondering who we are. We're massive music fans. But the team that's behind this whole thing are actually festival organisers as well. And they staged some pretty good gigs down here in Cornwall. But to pull this one off, which is going to be the biggest gig that Cornwall's ever seen, we need your help. We want to bring the Foo Fighters here to Cornwall. This is going to be a gig in Cornwall, for Cornwall, by Cornwall. Come on, Cornwall!
So that was a project by a Cornish-based company who were trying to bring the Foo Fighters down to Cornwall. They unfortunately weren't successful in raising the amount of money that they needed. They needed a really big number, but they did, however, raise £150,000 in about 3 days. And that video was a large part of it. One of the reasons why they raised so much money was because that video got shared and it went viral. It was on Facebook, it went on Twitter, got shared across, the link got shared on YouTube, everywhere. And everyone in Cornwall was pledging on it because they thought it was a brilliant project. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about who we are at Crowdfunder. I'm going to keep that really short. And then we're going to go into how to make a good video, just like the Foo Fighters crowdfunding video that we've just watched.
Cool.
So who are Crowdfunder? We are the UK's #1 rewards-based crowdfunding platform. That means that we help people raise money. We help lots of businesses, community groups, charities, startups, social enterprises raise cash in return for rewards. So if I was to start a business and my business was a t-shirt business, then I would put my projects live, people would watch my video. Oh, I'm getting a nudge that we might have a technical difficulty. I don't know if anyone can see or hear this. If you can, maybe you could tweet into Hashtag CFPU.
It's fine. You just talk through it on not on full screen.
Not on full screen. Okay.
It's a bit of a pain.
Okay. I've just been told that you may not have been able to see everything that I've just gone through, including the Foo Fighters video, because we've got a bit of a difficulty with full screen. So apologize if that's the case. I'm going to whip back and replay the video because it's only 2 minutes, and I think it's really important that we all just see it. So let's try and click play on this.
Cornwall, are you listening? Because we want this to happen. Oh yeah! We want to stage a Foo Fighters gig right here, not right here, this is a recording studio, but right here in Cornwall, and we want you to make that happen. So what can we as fans do? Well, it's simple. We can pledge. There's lots of options down here on this side of the page. And what we really need you to do is to pledge to buy a ticket. And that way, if we get Dave and the boys down here to Cornwall, you will be at that gig. I'm excited. I'm sure you are. So you're probably wondering who we are. We're massive music fans. But the team that's behind this whole thing are actually festival organisers as well. And they've staged some pretty good gigs down here in Cornwall. But to pull this one off, which is going to be the biggest gig that Cornwall's ever seen, we need your help. We want to bring the Foo Fighters here to Cornwall. This is going to be a gig in Cornwall, for Cornwall, by Cornwall. Come on, Cornwall!
Okay, good. So hopefully everyone's seen that now, and we're back in the mix. So I'm going to quickly talk to you about who Crowdfunder are. We're the largest UK-based rewards crowdfunding platform. What that means is we work with more projects than anybody else in the United Kingdom. There's some numbers on the screen in front of you. You can see that we've raised over £14 million now for projects in the UK. We've got a database of well over 250,000 crowdfunders. That number's going up by more than 1,000 a day. We help people raise anything from 50 quid all the way up to 1.5 million is our largest project. And there's hundreds of projects that are coming on to Crowdfunder every day. If you haven't been on the website yet, I would advise that you go and take a look and see some of the projects that are happening. There's loads of cool stuff happening in Plymouth at the moment. It's a real hotbed for crowdfunding. So check that out. It's www.crowdfunder.co.uk, or if you type it into Google, you'll see we're ranked really high up. It should be very easy to find. So just so we're all on the same page, how does crowdfunding actually work? At a high level, it's very simple. A user, in this case it might be you, creates a project on Crowdfunder. You put that project live and you share that project with everybody that you know, aka the crowd. They pledge on it. If they like it, they give you their hard-earned cash, and in return for that you give them some rewards. And if you get enough people to pledge enough money and you hit your target figure, then your idea gets funded and you get all of the cash. In reality, this is what that looks like. So Phil is the chap on the right side of the picture there. The other guy is Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall. You might recognize him from Channel 4. He does a lot of programs with a TV group called River Cottage. So Phil decided that he wanted to pack his job in and he wanted to set up his own bakery. He saw a demand for it in his local area and wanted to go for it. So he went to the bank to try and get a loan. It's sort of an option that most people will try first, at least initially. And he said to them, I need 8 grand because I need to purchase a bread oven. It's a vital piece of equipment for my bakery. I effectively can't open my bakery without it. And the bank said no, for a few reasons. One was that Phil had never run a bakery before. He didn't have much of his own capital to put up against the loan that he was asking for. And in simplistic terms, I guess the bank thought that it was too risky. Phil, however, was undeterred. He knew that there was a market for the bread that he wanted to make. So he started a project on Crowdfunder. He went out to all the people in his local community and he raised over 8 grand, so more than he needed from 114 backers. It worked out really well for Phil. What he did was said, if you give me some money, I'll give you the bread that I make once I've bought the oven and once the bakery opens. So for 100 quid, you would get 1 loaf of bread every week for a year. That was the reward that people were getting. You can see he's got 114 backers on that big check there. That's fantastic news for Phil, because that means that before he's even opened his shop, he's got 114 people who are going to be his first customer base. So he's launching the bakery with guaranteed custom. And if he makes good bread and the people like the rewards that they've pledged on, they'll become repeat customers. There is actually a point 6 on this slide, which often gets missed, but I think it's quite important. And that is, after Phil set up the bakery, it was so popular that he needed to grow it and he needed to access some more finance in order for him to buy some more equipment, which would let him scale up the operation. He decided to go back to the bank to see what they would say. And the bank actually cleared him for a £10,000 loan because he'd proven that his bakery was going to be a success, and the crowdfunding was a big part of that. So he validated his idea through his crowdfunding project. I'm going to take you through now and start talking a little bit more about what it takes to make a video. Before I do that, wrong order, I'm just going to show you what a project page looks like. So this is very similar to the project that Phil would have set up. The templates changed slightly, but you can see right at the top there of the Crowdfunder page, there's a big, in this case, Otter Farm video. The video takes prime real estate on your project page, and that's because the video is a really, really important element of the page itself. It's a really important element of getting people to convert from just looking at your project to being a supporter of your project and backing your project. Alongside the video, you've got a big pledge button on the right hand side and how much you've raised against the target. Below the screen break there that we can't really see, there's a written description and also the set of rewards. So people will scroll down should they want to find more information after watching your video. I mentioned that videos are really important. We do a lot of work on stats at Crowdfunder. We do a lot of dives into the data. And on average, your project, if you were to launch one, is going to be 50% more likely to hit your target if you have a video. That's based on all of the projects that we run. So we're talking about thousands and thousands, and on average it's 50%. So it's a very, very important element, and we always advise people, if they have the capacity to do one, then they should do one. So on that page you've got the video and you've got the written description. It's worth noting that for both of those items, you need to consider what your story is. They're effectively telling the same content, they're just in different mediums. One is written and one is in video animated form. The 3 things that you really, really need to make sure that you cover in your video is what you actually want to achieve, who you are and what it is that you do, and how you're going to use the funds that you raise. Those are really important. If you put yourselves in the position of a backer, they are really going to want to know who you are, just to make sure that you are actually a real human being and that this isn't a fraudulent project. They really need to know what it is that you're going to achieve, because if it's something that is silly or something that they don't believe in or something that they don't want to purchase or a service that they don't want to use, then it's very unlikely that they're going to pledge on your project. So you've got to show them what it is that you're trying to do and what it is that you want to achieve. And finally, how you use the funds that you're going to raise. That often gets overlooked, but I think is actually an extremely important point. I, as a backer, want to know how you're going to be spending the money that I give you. It's really important for me to know that you're going to be adding value to your business proposition through the money that I'm funding. If I think that you're going to waste the 50 quid that I give you or the 100 quid that I pledge, even if I really like the reward I'm pledging on, I might decide not to pledge, because I think if you are going to waste the funds, waste the money that I'm giving you, there's a good chance I might not get the reward that I've pledged on. So that's the story. They're the overarching pieces of content that you should consider putting into the video. I'm going to split how to do a video into 3 stages now. We're going to look first at the planning of a video. Then we've got a little bit on actually filming the video, what you need to consider when you're doing that. And once the video is all filmed, how you actually get the video into final preparation mode. And we've got a few more examples at the end, and we'll go into some questions and answers. So when we're looking at planning the video, it's really key to make an actual plan. That means writing it down. It doesn't have to be super neat. It doesn't have to even be digital. I quite like the idea of getting a whiteboard or a really big piece of paper and just brainstorming as many different ideas as you can, putting it all down there, crossing off ones that you perhaps don't like after you put some thought through it, but just getting everything into one place. When you've done that, you should have an idea of how you're going to approach the video and how you're going to approach telling people who you are and what it is that you do, what it is that you're trying to achieve, and finally, how you're going to spend the money that you're raising. When you know what that looks like, it should be really easy again to drill down into writing a script. So we're slowly getting into more and more detail. And when you are writing a script, make sure you talk about those 3 overarching pieces of content that I just mentioned. On top of that, you need to find a way to inspire people to pledge, show people how passionate you are. If you've got a team around you, make sure you talk about the team. It's a really nice idea to fit into the script somewhere about the rewards that people can pledge on. If you are running a business project and you've got a reward, which is the product or service that you're selling, this is your opportunity to really sell that product or service. Why is it important that people purchase this essentially through your crowdfunding project? If you have a really big vision for the future, that's a really nice thing to mention. And when you finish the video, sorry, and you're coming to the end of the script, you really need to put a strong call to action in there. That would usually include the URL that your project sits on, and it will also include something like, please pledge now, or check out the rewards now, they're just here. So when you're looking at planning the project, go from a very high level, lots of ideas, bounce some things around, figure out what it is that you're going to do, come down into more of a deeper level and start writing a script, and make sure you cover all of those items, just to be sure that the backer has all of the information that they could possibly want there and then on the video. When you know what it is that you're going to say and sort of the general idea of the video, you need to pick a location. If you are a business, maybe your location could be where you're manufacturing the product. Maybe it could be somewhere outdoors. If it's I'm sat next to the beach now. If you're doing a surfing product, it'd be a really nice idea to pick a location that's by the sea or on the sea or under the water or on the beach. Make sure that the location's really relevant to the project. One of my top tips about picking a location would be to not go too close to a busy road, because traffic can be noisy, and that becomes a bit of a difficulty when you're trying to record yourself talking. Finally, when you are planning the video, try and ask lots of people to take part. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about getting in front of the camera in a second. It's really important for you to do that, but it's also quite important to get lots of people involved and show that you already have people using your product. People are coming in to use the service. Maybe there's a community around the project that you want to do. You want to show that there's already that support there and there's already the validation from the crowd there for anybody who wants to come and pledge on your project who perhaps hasn't seen it before. You're giving them some social evidence, some real evidence that there are people out there who are going to support this project. And that's a key thing to do. So we've now hopefully got a plan of what the video is going to look like. We've got a script, we know where we're going to film it, and we've pulled in some friends and family, some customers to come and be part of the video as well. Now we need to film it. So here's some top tips on actually filming a good video. Number 1, make sure you get in front of the camera and make the video as personable as possible. We really don't want to see image montages with voiceovers. It's incredibly important that you put yourself or an ambassador for your project in front of the camera and you're talking to the potential backers. It makes a massive difference in the emotional connection and also how much the potential backer will trust you as a person and as a person who's running a project. So make sure, if you can, get in front of the camera. When you are shooting, try and find a camera which is as high quality as possible. We see loads of videos on Crowdfunder, and there's lots of good videos which are borderline amateur, I would say, which still tick all of the boxes. So using a smartphone is fine, you can do that. What you need to remember is most people, when they land on a crowdfunding project, will click play on the video as the first thing that they do. If they click play on the video and the video looks really amateurish and it doesn't look like it's been well thought through, and the people presenting on the video are stuttering and mumbling and not really saying all the things that they should be saying, it puts an instant distaste in the potential backer's mouth, and they think, if these guys aren't committed to doing a good video and they haven't thought the video through, then how do I know that they're going to create a good business and that they've got a strong business plan to actually be able to deliver the rewards that I'm pledging on? That all starts with as good a camera as you can possibly find. If you only have a smartphone, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure that you're ticking all the boxes for talking about the content that people want to hear. So if you can, get a good camera. Alongside the camera, and this is slightly harder to come by, but if you can, try and find a microphone to capture what you're saying. Having a lot of background noise can very quickly ruin a good video because it becomes very difficult for a potential backer to understand exactly who you are, what it is that you're trying to do, and how you're going to spend the money that they're giving you. And if they can't do that, they're very unlikely to pledge on your project. When you are filming, we sort of touched on this in the last slide, it's important to bring in lots of people, make sure those friends that have said they'll come and be part of the video are in front of the camera. Make sure that the location fits with the project that you're trying to run, and the whole background is giving a lot of context to the words that you're talking about. So that's my tips for when you're actually filming. The last stage to creating a good video is actually finalizing it. You may find that you can run a crowdfunding video, film it in one take on your iPhone or your Samsung, whatever, and it works really well, and that's it, done and dusted. If you can do that, that's brilliant. Lots of people, me included, I've done this before. I can't do that. I found it very difficult, and I took a crowdfunding video over a number of cuts, and then it got to the point where I had to go back and put those little snippets of video together into one streamless film, and I had to use a software package to do that. I run a Mac, so I used iMovie. It's quite intuitive and fairly easy to do. There are a number of other applications that you can use. Lots of them are very powerful, and lots of them allow you to cut in different bits of film, apply voiceovers that you can record through your laptop microphone. You can put music and different sound effects on there, transitions, all that sort of thing. I'd advise trying to use a decent piece of editing software, but you don't have to make the video super tricksy with lots of different sound effects and transitional effects. The key thing really is about the content and making sure that you're the person that's in front of the camera. So when it comes to adding inspirational music and on-screen graphics, if you can do it, that's great. I wouldn't rush through doing that and putting them on there just for the sake of putting them on there. Once you have edited the video and it's in a format that you think is good, and it's as good as you're going to make it, you're covering who it is that you are, what it is that you're trying to achieve, and where you're going to spend the money, along with perhaps selling some of the rewards which you might be using, talking about where it's all going to happen and your future visions, all the things that we've just spoken about. You need to post your video on YouTube or Vimeo. To do that, you need to create an account on YouTube and or Vimeo. It's very easy to do both. And when we're talking about running an actual crowdfunding project, you then take the link of the uploaded video and you copy and paste it into the add project section on Crowdfunder. Crowdfunder will then embed that video automatically, and it's all done for you, and it's very easy from there. So I've got a couple of videos now that I just want to show you. I'm hoping that all of those things that we've just spoken about will come through and you'll start to see them in effect. We watched the Foo Fighters at the start. I'm going to show you another one now, which is called Soul of Discretion. This is actually a Plymouth-based project. It's one of my favorites. They raised £12,500 through the crowd and then went on to access 130 grand of match funding. So for anyone out there who is starting or thinking about starting their own business, this is a really good example of how crowdfunding can help you kick that off and then go on to much bigger things. Without further ado, Soul of Discretion.
I'm Caroline Bennett, and Soul of Discretion's aim is to create a stable market and a distribution system for fish from a network of small-scale fishers from around the UK. Fishers using environmentally sensitive methods will get fair prices, agreed with them in advance, boosting their local economies and rewarding them for fishing with environmental sensitivity. Customers will get honestly priced fish of exceptional quality, traceable back to the fishermen, direct to their homes around the country. With your money, we'll build a small hub in Plymouth where the fishers can pack and dispatch super fresh fish already prepared to restaurants and homes across the country via Riverford, one of the biggest organic home delivery companies in Britain. Soul of Discretion will be run as a community interest company owned by the fishing community. This means that profit is not the primary reason for our existence. It recognises that we want to be able to reward people that respect and take care of our seas in the way that allows us to eat fish with a clearer conscience and be actively part of a better world by putting our money where we want it to go, to fishers that are less damaging to our seas. We respect our fishers for the skills and knowledge of the seas that they have. They are, after all, the custodians of our shared oceans.
I've been in this industry now for 33 years and starting as a child. When people ask me what species I consider to be in the most threat, I have to say no, it's the fishermen themselves. When I first started in this industry, there was a vast wealth of youngsters. We all progressed through like larger vessels to smaller vessels and most are coming on to own our own. When I look back now, I see very few youngsters coming through the industry. And myself, certainly in the next 10 years, we'll be retiring from this industry, and it would be a great privilege to see, as I retire, a new generation of young fishermen coming through to take my place.
All the parts are in place. We have some wonderful fishermen and some people that want to eat their fish. All we need now is your help.
Cool. So hopefully during that video you saw quite a lot of the elements that we've spoken about. The things that I really like about that video is Caroline gets in front of the camera. She instantly builds a bit of trust and she tells me very quickly exactly who she is and what it is that she's trying to achieve. All of the backdrop images were of fish or of fishing boats, so the context was perfect. She got an actual fisherman in there, which builds a lot of outside justification on the project to say that actually it's not just her and it's not just a dream. She's engaging with her customers and the people who are going to be supplying the fish to her hub. She told me how she was going to spend the money, and it was all shot in a very nice, clean way. So that's I think one of the better examples of a crowdfunding video. And I'm going to show you one more. This one is not Plymouth based. This one is way up in Scotland. And it's a totally different idea. It's still a business, but see what you think of this one, the 3 Wise Monkeys.
When the conditions are good, this is the perfect place to come climbing. When it's wet, it's definitely not. Ever since I started climbing, I've come to Fort William to climb on Ben Nevis, and it's still my favourite place in the world to climb, except when it's raining. A good climbing wall is the one thing I would change about Fort William to make it the perfect place for climbing tips. This old church, right in the centre of Fort William, is falling derelict. With your help, it will make an amazing climbing centre. If we can make it happen, it will have wooden walls, 2 large bouldering rooms, and a great cafe. It will be the perfect place to come climbing, whether you come here to train or if you've never climbed before. They have the building, they have the plans, and they have the approval to go ahead. But something like this isn't going to happen without the money to get it built. If you'd like to see this happen, we need your help.
Our team have already purchased the building, and we've got the majority of the funding in place for the renovation and repair of the building. We just need to raise another £40,000 to open the bouldering wall. Once that's done, we'll be able to move on to open the leading walls and the cafe. By contributing, you can benefit from a great range of rewards, everything from our Super Funder t-shirt right the way up to lifetime membership of the climbing centre. So not only will you be helping our project get off the ground, you may be saving yourself some money when it comes time to climb here. Our crowdfund is only open for 28 days. If we manage to make the money that we need in that time, the project can go ahead straight away.
The world of climbing is quite small, so if you leave it for someone else to do, it just won't happen. It's going to need both the locals and folk who visit this area to help out. If you'd like to help, click through to see the rewards, and I'll see you in the wall sometime later this summer.
Cool. Okay, so in 2 minutes and 17 seconds, those guys gave me a really good snapshot of exactly what it is that they're trying to achieve. I really liked the way that they showed us the before state of the church and the after images of what it's going to look like. They explained that the area could really benefit from a climbing centre just like this. But more than that, they put the emphasis on why it's a good idea for me to back the project. And they said a little bit about the rewards and the fact that if I back now, then I'm going to save some money. It saves some money when it actually opens, because they're likely to charge more than what the rewards are worth for if I wanted to come up and have a climb. I also thought the call to action at the end was really strong. Check out the rewards and basically show them the support. So those guys also did really well. They raised about 42 grand. They've gone on to do an equity crowdfund, which is not something that we offer, but we can help with. And they are raising upwards of about 250 grand, I think, to again scale up the business. So there's lots of opportunities that start from a successful rewards-based crowdfunding project. And in order to get a successful rewards-based crowdfunding project, it's important to get the video right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So hopefully, if technology works, you're back on with me. And I've got some questions here that have been sent in before and during the webinar. Some good ones I can see already. So I'm going to whip through those and then we'll sign off. I'll leave you to go and create your own crowdfunding videos, or at least start planning them. So question number 1, how long should my video be? I think the average length of the 3 videos that we've just watched was about 2 minutes. And for me, that's spot on. Any longer than that, it can start to get boring, tedious. You definitely lose people's attention after the 2-minute mark. And when you've lost their attention, there's a good chance that they might get distracted, check out Facebook, have a little dive into their emails, for instance. And we don't want that to happen. We want them to stay on the page, be interested, and click pledge straight away. So if it was me, I'd be going for between 90 seconds and 2 minutes. Keep it short, sweet, and punchy. That's a very good question. Do I need to explain what I'm going to spend the money on? So hopefully I touched on this during the hangout. Hopefully it's come across that, yes, you do need to talk about how you're going to spend the money. Not so much breaking it down into by the pound, but just showing people where the money's going to add value to the project that you're running. Should I promote rewards in my video? Yes, you should, if you have good rewards and they're suitable for the audience that you're going to be putting the video in front of. You should definitely do that if you're a business, because there's a good chance that you're raising money to start selling the product that you want to sell. And you're going to do that through rewards. So the video is a really good opportunity to walk people through exactly what your product is, sell that product to them, and get them to pledge on the rewards in order to actually receive that product. How beneficial is it to use the relevant background music to a campaign video? I've seen lots of good videos that don't use music, and I've seen lots of good videos that do use music. I think if used appropriately, it can be quite powerful, but I don't think it's 100% necessary that you use background music. The key thing is getting the right content across, and the right content, once again, is who you are, what it is that you're trying to achieve, and how you're going to use the money to achieve that. Why are the backers adding value to your project? If you can do that without background music, that's fine. If you want to put some background music in there to mix it up, that's also fine. If it is background music, my one advice would be to keep it background music. Don't put anything too heavy in or anything that's too overpowering, because people won't be able to hear you. And if they're not getting the information that they want through the video, then there's a good chance that they might leave the project without pledging. And that's not what we want at all. And we've got one more question that's just come through. How should potential campaigners decide on what music to use? So I think I've just sort of answered that. Nothing too heavy. I wouldn't go for anything obscene or rude, if that's the sort of music that you like. Perhaps leave that out of the project. We have quite a strict policy on Crowdfunder that projects need to be family friendly. So please don't use music that has lots of swearing in it, because there's a good chance that the project won't be able to go live. I think for the background music, keep it light, keep it without any sort of lyrics or talking over it. It might be the best thing to do. And that is actually the end of the questions and the end of the Hangout. So thank you for everyone who joined live. Thank you for everyone who is listening back at any point. If you've got any questions, we will be on #CFPU for the rest of the day. Fire them over and we'll do our best to answer them. Otherwise, we'll find a way to get the PowerPoint to you. And thank you once again. Good luck with making your video. Cheers.